You want to know what a Wall Street Democrat looks like? Well, as soon as the Obama administration ended, his cabinet members and his staffers all ran to get jobs with corporate America. No surprise. Farron and I have been talking about this forever. These same people from the hope and change thing, like we can do better from that administration, well, they're in the pockets. Unlimited power in corporate America, unlimited money. That's who these folks are. Joining me to talk about is Farron Cousins, who I honestly believe is the best progressive talker in the business. I mean that.
Well, thank you.
You've been with me 20 years. We've been working together, right?
Almost,
and every year it just gets better and better. So give me your take on this, Farron.
I think it's, essentially what we expect. And I love that the folks over at Jacobin, Luke Savage specifically, came out with this piece, because this is the kind of follow-up that we really need. This is what people have to understand about these administrations that they've put up on a pedestal, act like, oh, they did no wrong, Trump was terrible, but Obama was wonderful. No, you have former members of the Obama administration actively fighting against unions for Amazon. You have them actively fighting against antitrust for Facebook. You have them actively fighting in court for pharmaceutical companies. These are corporate puppets that came directly from Obama.
What are the blinders that run-of-the-mill Democrat puts on? The blinders that make them so tribal that they can't admit that, this was a Wall Street Democrat party that now has moved into corporate America. There's no guesswork here. I mean, my God, you starts with Jay Carney. I mean, Jay Carney's with Amazon. Amazon is in this union fight all over America. Jay Carney is the guy helping drive the train to keep workers down. This was the hope and change guy that came from the Obama administration, or Robert Gibbs. I mean, you take it from there.
Right. You had Robert Gibbs, who had helped McDonald's try to crush $15 minimum wage, or actually increases in minimum wage. So again, across the spectrum, every big issue that we talk about all the time, the need for unions, need for an increase in minimum wage, breaking up tech companies, you can find these Obama administration fingerprints all over it. Seth Harris, former labor secretary, is in there as well, working to kill these minimum wage laws that the NLRB says are absolutely essential. But Obama's people,
the hope and change folks.
Right.
Hope and change.
Are the ones out there doing these horrible things. But the average run-of-the-mill liberal does put on these blinders, and they say, well, at least it's not Trump. At least it's not Bush. But no, you can't have that mentality. When they do wrong, call them out for doing wrong.
Send in your comments. Criticize us. I don't give a damn anymore. You have to call it out. And these folks are Wall Street thugs. That's what they've turned into. This is the Hopi and Changey group that now is trying to keep wages down. They're trying to keep people from unionizing. They're attacking Bernie Sanders. They're attacking OAs across the board. Yeah. They're attacking progressives and everything we stand for because of the money. That's okay. How about Eric Holder? Has he ever seen a white-collar criminal that he was willing to put in prison? Well, now, no guesswork here. He's back with Covington Burling that are in the business of protecting white-collar criminals and corporate criminals. That's where Eric Holder went back to. Drug companies are being sued by patients who took medications containing valsartan. Instead of helping to control high blood pressure, the drugs actually cause many of them to develop cancer. Madeline Penley, attorney Madeline Penley, is here to join me now to talk about this. Maddie, first of all, what's the underlying problem here?
So the underlying problem is valsartan, which is a generic drug. It was pulled from the market because it was contaminated with a highly carcinogenic compound known as NDMA.
NDMA, people are going to start hearing more and more about NDMA because and now we learn that it's in so many different medications.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about it.
So NDMA, it's extremely dangerous. So the only reason it's even used today is in laboratory studies. So they actually inject animals with NDMA in order to see how tumors develop. So there's no question it's carcinogenic, and it's actually extremely good at facilitating tumor development. Anywhere it's injected will develop a tumor.
Okay, so the only purpose that we use it for on the market in the United States is to cause cancer
Yes.
in laboratory animals.
Exactly.
And with valsartan, we know that it's in valsartan. It's being created, produced inside the medication itself. And so what went wrong? What happened here? Was it contamination of some kind or what?
It's basically a manufacturing defect, and this happened, long story short, because these companies cared more about making money than making a drug that was safe. So we have two main groups of defendants, to keep it simple. API manufacturers, they make the active pharmaceutical ingredient valsartan, and finished dose manufacturers who bought that product. Basically, our main API manufacturer is a Chinese manufacturer called ZHP. ZHP had been making valsartan for years with no issue at all, and that's important. But in order to save money, they decided to change the manufacturing process, switch from process 1 to process 2. When they did that, they used cheaper materials. They can make more drugs more quickly. So it's just to make money, and that process 2 is what facilitated NDMA in the drug.
So you're suing these Chinese companies in the United States.
Yes.
And you're going to be able to hold them accountable with that case.
Yes, and we have a ton of internal documents, things they were saying to each other when they thought nobody was looking, test results they had early on that shows that they did know about this issue and just didn't tell anybody.
Well, so this Chinese company knows they're shipping tons of this stuff to the United States and all around the world for that matter.
Right.
They already know it's contaminated.
Yes.
There's not any question. Yeah, we know it's contaminated. They're trying to say to the world public, don't worry about it. It's not enough. You're going to be okay. That is the biggest lie they could possibly tell, isn't it?
Right, and they knew it was contaminated, and they actually had testing results that show things that they were referring to as ghost peaks. So this is probably grossly oversimplified, but they have chromatography testing. It's like shows little bumps. And so they know where these bumps should be in baseline clean valsartan.
Yeah.
They did testing after the process 2 switch and saw these huge peaks.
And you've seen them.
Well, I've seen them, and the emails discussing them, like, what is in this drug? This is so strange. And instead of looking into it and doing the testing they're supposed to do, they chalked it up to ghost peaks. It's a weird testing error, and continued to sell it.
Well, okay, there again, the FDA, of course, to me, is one of the laziest institutions we have in the United States.
Right.
They're either owned by corporate America. Corporate America, time and time again, the drug companies just do whatever they want to do with the FDA. The FDA didn't do much here, did they?
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
They actually approved this process switch for ZHP because ZHP told them it was a minor change, so that they didn't have to go through the more stringent regulatory requirements, and the FDA just kind of took them at their word and let them do it.
Okay, tell us how this NDMA operates. I mean, first of all, it's a carcinogen by itself.
Right.
But then when a person takes this valsartan, the NDMA is moving through their system, but they're also doing things like eating bacon, which is huge,
Right.
eating smoked fish. Explain that a little bit.
So NDMA, is in this drug anyway, like you said. But if people are on a high nitrate diet, if the drug is exposed to heat and humidity, whether it's inside the body or out, all of those things can lead to higher levels of NDMA in the drug.
Any question that this Chinese company knew that, in your mind?
No, to be fair, at the beginning, they didn't know it was NDMA because they didn't want to know it was NDMA.
They were hiding
But as
from
soon as somebody raised the flag, they knew and kept their mouth shut.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me. Good luck on this case. It's an important one.
Thank you.